Already mic testing, mic testing. Okay, perfect. Let me go to my main camera. Already we're live, and as you guys can tell by the title and thumbnail, today I'm going to be going through cons and basics in C++. Last stream I went through only basics in C++. That said, let me move on to my gameplay screen. And guys, I did start streaming later today because I had college and all that. Okay, that said, let me say, let's say I'm live. Okay, and guys, I just shrink my chat GPT so you guys could like see the whole screen. I realized that you guys can usually see my whole screen. That said, listen up, Vivek and everyone. In this stream today, we enter the dojo of code. No excuses, no mercy, just pure discipline and growth. This is where novices get burnt and forged into masters. The difference between a master and a novice is that a master has failed more times than a novice has tried. Ooh, steel only becomes a sword after it's been burnt and beaten. Okay, those two are actually pretty cool. Okay, welcome to the fire. You're about to watch Vivek take const loops and vectors and bend them to his will. Okay, before the instructional based questions, let's say before the instructional based question, can you teach me about const? Okay, let's see. Good, that's your real call. You didn't go to the war without sharpening your blade. Let's hammer const into your skull first. What is const? In C++, const is a short for constant, okay? It tells the compiler the value cannot be changed once it's set. Think of it like carving a value into stone, okay? You can read it, but you can read it, you can use it, but you can't chase it. Is that how you pronounce it? Chisel over it, or chisel over it? Where do we use const variables? Const integer day and week 7, const double pi. Okay, I think I see what it means. If you try to change it, day and week equals 8 error. Can't assign to const. Function parameters, we use const when we don't want a function to change the data is given, okay? Void print name, const. Can we use print? Honestly, I've never learned about the void keyword. Okay, void print name, const standard. Okay, standard console output name with a new line. Here the and avoids making a copy, saves memory, and const prevents the function from modifying the string. Pointers later when you're ready to suffer more. Okay, why use const? Safety prevents accidental changes to improve values readability, make it clear which variable are fixed. Optimization, compilers can sometimes optimize code better when they know a value won't change. Common places use const pi, gravity, speed, light, constants of nature, size of arrays limited, or configuration values, parameters you only need to read, not modify, iterating through vectors/arrays without modifying the elements. Quote of your stream. Guys, why is Sensei giving so many quotes? Okay, discipline is remembering what you want. Alright, right now, you want to do mastery? Okay, let me say, ready for a question, Sensei. When we use void, we do not have to return 0, we can simply return. Oh, I see. Okay, that actually makes sense. Okay, excellent warrior. Time to swing your first const blade. Instructional challenge number 1. Write a program that does the following. Declare a const double called tax_rate and set it to 0.07, which is 7%. Ask the user to enter the price of an item, calculate the final price after adding tax, print the result. Okay, make sure you use const properly for the tax. Alright, so let me get Sensei here real quick. Okay, there we go. And guys, why does it always start lagging? Lag is so annoying sometimes. Okay, let's go with Control A and delete everything. Let me start off by including IO stream. I think let me just remove some tabs that I'm not going to be using. Okay, there we go. Okay, so let me start off by including IO stream. It does say excellent connection, guys. God, I don't understand why does the stream start lagging so much. Okay, that's it. I am going to be getting a PC soon, so that could fix the lag. Your stream has lag today too. Honestly, yeah, probably because my mini PC CPU can handle OBS and like all the 50 different plugins that I installed. That said, once I get a PC, that would be pretty good. That time the lag wouldn't be there. Okay, so let me start off by including IO stream. So let me go with hashtag include a pair of ankle braces IO stream. Okay. And then honestly, I won't be using vectors, so let me start off by typecasting my main function to be an integer. So I'll go with integer main. Okay, a pair of curly braces and then a bunch of spaces. Alright, let's see. Next up. So the first instruction says declare a const double called tax rate and set it to 0.07. So let me go ahead and create a double variable. So I'll go with double, something like double tax rate. So I'll go with tax rate. Okay, and I watched a video or like a tutorial where they were like const variables should be all uppercase. I think that's the reason set sales tutorial to be uppercase. Okay, I'll set that equal to 0.07. That is 7%. Let me add const here as well, so I'll go with const double. So this is a constant variable. Okay, there we go. This variable is not going to change. I'll end that with a semicolon. And then next up, ask the user to enter the price of an item. So I could create a variable, something like, let's go with integer item underscore price or item price. Okay, I'll add a semicolon here, and then let me go ahead and add a standard console output with an insertion operator. Keep your life little few minutes behind. That will help solve it. This happens because of internet connectivity. Oh, I see. Honestly, I do have a lot of stream delay. I think I have like 10 seconds of stream delay. Okay, so standard console output. This is going to be something like, let's see. I'll ask something like enter a price for your item. Okay, enter a price for your item. I'll end that with a semicolon, and then next up, calculate the final price after adding tax. So I could go with a standard console input with an extraction operator. I want to extract my item price variable. There we go. I'll end that with a semicolon as well. Then next up, calculate the final price after adding tax. So, okay, I could go with an extraction operator. There we go. Okay, there we go, guys. Relax back to normal. The reason I feel like it's not my Wi-Fi because before I used to stream like on multiple platforms as well, but my OBS actually like physically crashes these days too. That said, how do I add? Let's see. I could go ahead and add a integer of total variable. Try increasing time for next stream. Honestly, I don't want to like keep these stream delay too long because like when people ask questions, they think like I'm not even reading the comments. Okay, so total. Let's see. So I could add my item price with my total. So I'll go with total plus equals to item price. Okay. And I gotta add my tax as well. Maybe multiplied by my tax rate. There we go. And then let me go ahead and add a standard console output with an insertion operator. I want to insert something like my total, or I could say something like your total price is K with another insertion operator of my total variable. I'll honestly go with another insertion operator of a standard end line. Okay, and then here I could go with an insertion operator of a / new line. Alright, perfect. Let me go ahead and return 0 and with a semicolon. Okay, perfect. If I hit Control S to save the code and run the command, okay, it says enter a price for your item. I could go with something like $19.99. Okay, your total price is 1. Oh, because it's an integer. Bye-bye, guys. This should be a double. Okay, let's go with double and let me remove this. Okay, now if I hit Control S to save the code, when you're going to enter value item price, try entering string value. Honestly, string value. Okay, let me end that with a semicolon. Aren't prices supposed to be whatchamacallit? Like, I forgot. Aren't prices supposed to be doubles? Okay, I'll go with something like $19.99. Okay, it says your price is $133. I think that is my tax price. Okay, item multiplied by my tax price. Should I like add it? I think I can try adding it. That is going to be 0.07 though. I think I forgot how to apply my tax to my amount. Guys, I'm real bad with memorizing formulas. Okay, that's it. Let me just get Sitsa here. Okay, let me go ahead and paste it and hit Shift addresses. Let's say I feel like I messed up with the formulas. The formula. Okay, let's see. Okay, you're damn right you messed up a bit. Look at the formula again. You just slapped plus tax rate onto the price like it was a tip, not a percentage. Okay, that's not how tax works, soldier. The truth. If your item price is 100 and tax value is 0.07, the tax isn't just $0.07. It's 7% of 100. So should it be 7 divided by? total equals to item price plus item price multiplied by tax rate. Okay guys, I didn't know my formula. Also, you made item price an integer, that works, but if a customer buys something worth $19.99, how did Sensei know I hit $19.99? Your program will chop off the 99 like a butcher. Use double instead, don't use plus equals to. I see here. Start clean with total equals to. Fix your code, Vivek, write it properly. Your viewers need to see you respect math and const. Mistakes are for the weak, corrections are for the strong. Okay, let me get Sensei slash ChatGPT there. Okay, that said, the mistake that I was doing, I gotta set my total variable equal to, and since it is a price, I will change this to double. Okay, so total equals to my item price. Okay, then in a pair of parentheses, I go with my item price variable multiplied by my tax rate. Okay, did I have to add like a... Okay, so total equals to item price multiplied by... Maybe I'll go with a bunch of control C's. There we go. Or should this be plus? I'm pretty sure it should be plus. So item price plus... Okay, that I think that makes sense. If I did Control S to save the code, item price plus item price multiplied by tax rate, yeah, that actually makes sense, guys. I should memorize more formulas. Okay, so anyway price, I'll go with $19.99. Okay, your total price is $21.38. I wonder like if there's like a round function or something here. Add symbol. Yeah, okay, next up, let's see. Let me go ahead and paste this. Okay, I'm pretty sure that works perfectly. Okay, yes, that's how you strike, Vivek. Now, the math is clean, the const is respected, and the program breathes like a true warrior. Example run, entry price 100, total price 107, perfect 7% tax applied. But listen, right now your output is ugly for money. Customers don't want to see 107.0000001. They want 2 decimal places. Okay, I was kind of curious about this part. So, I can include IO man IP, is that how you pronounce it? For standard fixed, standard set precision, okay, standard console output with an insertion operator of a standard fixed, standard set precision too. So if someone enters 9099, okay, let's see. So I think I should include IO man IP. I've honestly never used that, and guys, here comes the lag again. I hope my OBS doesn't crash, guys. I can't wait to get the new PC. Okay, let me start off by including a pair of ankle braces. Include a pair of ankle braces. So this is IO man IP. Okay, include IO man IP. Okay, I'm pretty sure that's how we spell it. So does that basically, should I add the precision like standard console output, standard fixed, standard set precision too? Let me try this. I'll go with Control S to save the code. If I were to run the command, let's see. Guys, the stream is actually lagging so much. Okay, let's see. Guys, just loading for it. I have like all day. That was a joke, by the way. Okay, let's see. It says anyway price for your item. I'll go with $19.99. Okay, it still prints 21.38.93. Huh. Okay, I think after my total item price, I go down and I type standard console output with an insertion operator of a standard fixed. Okay, and then I go with standard set precision. So I'll go with another insertion operator of a standard set precision. So I'll go with std : set precision. There we go. Set precision. I'm gonna set my precision to be 2. And end that with a semicolon. Okay, is this part correct? Let me go ahead and hit Control S to save the code, and if I were to run the command. Okay, let's see. Guys, this lag is actually getting worse by the day. Like, I'm still finding parts for my PC. Like, I'm trying to get a... I'm even actually trying to learn on how to build one. So I hope I'm done with that like by the end of next week or something. Let's see. Okay, so entry price for your item, I'll go with something like $19.99. There we go, it's $21.39. Okay, and I'm just curious, what happens if I copy that set precision stuff and I get it right under my integer main. Like paste it right here. Okay, now if I hit Control S to save the code and run the command, will I get the same output? Okay, where do you think that I should add my set precision? Okay, question mark. Under my standard console output with an insertion operator of something like total, or right under my main function? Question mark. Okay, let's see. Good question, Vivek. This is about strategy. Right now, you've placed the standard console output, standard fix, standard set precision at the top of main. That line doesn't print anything. It just tells standard console output from now on, every number should print 2 decimal points. If you put it at the start of main, it affects all future numbers you print. If you put it right before standard console output total, it'll only affect numbers after that point. Oh, I see. Sensei's rule: if you want all money values in your program always look like proper currency, put it near the top of main. If you want just one specific output to look like formatted, put it directly before that output. Since this is a store/price program, I'd say put it at the top of the main function, because you're probably going to print multiple prices and they should all look clean. Next task, change a program so it prints like this, 2 lines aligned. Okay, price before tax, price after tax. Okay, that should honestly be pretty easy. Okay, let me get ChatGPT here. There we go. If setting can be changed that makes it 5 or 10 minutes behind, this will help solving in lag or try upgrading your internet stream. Honestly, my internet speed is like I forgot how much it was. It was like 500 Mbps. Like, I did the speed test. Like, let me just open this real quick. Okay, I did the speed test while I was streaming, and this was like my internet speed. It looks like it's pretty fast because I do have like an Ethernet cable on it. That said, I think it's my CPU of my actual PC, because that's the thing that usually like starts lagging. Okay, with that said, let me get my OBS up real quick, and then Sensei here. Alright, so change a program so it prints like this, 2 lines aligned. Okay, so let me go with under my standard console output and add another. So I'll go with standard console output with an insertion operator. Actually, let me go ahead and copy that part and add that under this. Okay, let me paste it here. Okay, this time I'll say something like price before tax. So this is going to be my price before tax. I'll add a colon here, any space. Okay, maybe I'll go with another insertion operator of a / new line ending with a semicolon. If I hit Control S to save the code and run the command, okay, it's going to say enter a price. I'll go with 28.65. Okay, price before tax. Oh, I forgot to add my price before tax. Okay, price before tax is going to be my total variable. Okay, now honestly, it's going to be my item price. Let's go with item price variable. Now if I were to save the code and run the command, okay, it's going to say enter a price. I'll go with 27.85. Okay, that's before tax, that's after tax. Alright, perfect. Honestly, I do want to go with harder questions. This does look pretty easy. That said, let me get Sensei here. Guys, I hope you guys can see ChatGPT's screen properly, because I realized before I used to not show the whole screen. Okay, let me say Sensei, can I get another instructional based question mark? Okay, let's see. Okay, Strong Vivek, you've got Const under control and now your output looks clean. Now it's time to level up. Instructional challenge number 2. Okay, we're going to combine const plus if/else. Write a program that declares a const integer passing score which is set to 60. Ask the user for their exam score. If score is 90 or higher, print grade A. Else if the score is 80 to 89, print grade B. Else if the score is 70 to 79, print C. Else if the score is 60 to 69, print D. Otherwise, print F for fail. Okay. After printing the grade, check if whether the score is at least passing score. If yes, print you passed, else you failed. Rules of the dojo: you must use const of passing score. You must use proper if/else blocks. If not stacked separately, no magic numbers like 60 floating around, always reference passing. Okay, quote for the stream, hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard. Okay, I see. Alright, let me get Sensei slash ChatGPT there. That said, so firstly, let me go ahead and Control A and delete the whole thing. Let me start off by including a pair of ankle braces, IO stream. Okay, and then let me go ahead and honestly, will I be using vectors? I don't think I'll be using vectors. So let me go ahead and typecast my main function to be an integer. So I'll go with integer main. I'll go with a pair of curly braces. Actually, I'll go with a pair of curly braces, maybe a bunch of spaces. Okay, and then tab. So it says declare a constant variable called passing score, which only consists of integers. So let me go with something like const. Okay, const integer, which is going to be called passing score. Passing underscore score. Okay, which equals to 60. Excuse me guys, I'll end up with a semicolon and then ask the user for their exam score. So I could create another integer variable. This is going to be exam score. Okay, next up, let me go ahead and add a standard console output with an insertion operator. I want to insert something. Let's see. So let me go ahead and insert something like enter your exam score. Okay, and I'll end up with a semicolon. Next up, let me go with a standard console input. Standard console input with an extraction operator. I want to extract my exam score variable. Okay, and I'll end up with a semicolon as well. Next up, it says if the score is 90 or higher, print grade A. So let's add a few if statements now. I'll go with if, a pair of parentheses, if my score is 90 or higher. So if my exam score, okay, so if my exam score is greater than 90 or higher. So if my exam score is either greater than or equal to 90, okay, I'm going to do something. I'll go with a pair of curly braces and then let me go ahead and add something. I'll go with a standard console output with an insertion operator that says grade A, with another insertion operator of a / new line ending with a semicolon. Outside my if statement, let me go ahead and add a else if statement. Okay, next up, else if the score is 80 to 89, print grade B. Okay, so if my exam score, okay, so since it says 80 to 89, I want my score to be greater than, actually I want my score to be greater than 80. Okay, so let's go with while my score is greater than or equal to 80. Okay, let's say and less than 89. Okay, and less than or equal to 89. Okay, let me go ahead and read this to see if it makes sense. So can I go with less than or equal to 89? Isn't this an AND operator? Okay, if my exam score is either more than 80 or equal to 80, I need help on dynamic memory management in C++, please. Honestly, I'm not that good in C++ myself, like where I could teach you guys. That said, in my Discord server, I do have like a programming help chat. You guys could join the Discord server and then ask someone from there if like they could actually help you guys. Honestly, to like get the Discord, you could just type like !Discord. Eventually, I am planning like to make tutorial videos on these topics, but once I'm pretty good with them. Okay, that said, why can't I go with less than or equal to 89? Okay, what happens if I change this to R? Okay, let's see. So, else if my exam score is either more than 80 or equal to more than or equal to 80. Okay, I want it to be greater than 80. Okay, and then let's go with something like, and I want my exam score, okay, to be less than, oh, I didn't add my exam score before, to be less than or equal to 89. Enter variable name again after symbol. Honestly, yeah, I actually forgot that part for some reason. Okay, so this makes sense. Let me go with a pair of curly braces and then add a standard console output with an insertion operator. I want to say something like grade B, with another insertion operator of a / new line ending with a semicolon. Next up, else if the score is 70 to 79, print grade C. So let me go with another else if. So I'll go with else if, a pair of parentheses, I'll go with my exam score if it's either 70 to 79. So if it's greater than 70 and my exam score is less than or equal to 79, I'll go with a pair of curly braces and then add a standard console output with an insertion operator that says something like grade C, with another insertion operator of a / new line ending with a semicolon. That said, else if my score is 60 to 69, I print grade D. So let me go with another else if. Let's go with else if, a pair of parentheses, my exam score variable is either greater than 60 and my exam score variable, so exam score variable is either less than or equal to 69. The heap and static memory, I have trouble learning, it's so confusing. Honestly, that sounds pretty fun, but like confusing. What are you trying to learn in dynamic memory? Okay, this is going to be 69. I'll go with a pair of curly braces and then add a standard console output with an insertion operator. This is going to be grade D with another insertion operator of a / new line ending with a semicolon. That said, lastly, let me go with an else clause, pair of parentheses, and now add another standard console output with an insertion operator. This time I'm going to be adding something like grade F, which means fail. So I'll go with grade F, which is fail. Okay, I'll go with fail. There we go. With another insertion operator of a / new line ending with a semicolon. Okay, next up, after printing the grades, check if whether the score is at least passing score. If yes, print you passed, else print you failed. Okay. Okay, let's see. Let's add another if statement. So if a pair of parentheses, if my, let's say, exam score is equal to my passing score, okay, is either less than, actually is either greater than or equal to my passing score, I'll go with a pair of curly braces and then add a standard console output with an insertion operator. I want to insert something. I'll insert you passed, else you failed. So I'll go with you passed, exclamation. This is going to be in a pair of double quotes. Okay, with another insertion operator of a / new line. And then let me go ahead and add an else clause as well. So let me go with else, a pair of curly braces. I'll go with a standard console output with an insertion operator that says something like you failed. So I'll go with you failed, exclamation. I'm actually title case this. Okay, perfect. Let me go with another insertion operator of a / new line ending with a semicolon. Lastly, let me go ahead and return 0. Alright, perfect. If I hit Control S to save the code and run the command, okay, it's going to say enter your exam score. I'll go with something like 92. That's what I got in my exam, guys. Okay, grade A, you passed. Okay, what if I delete that and run the command again? What if I say I got 59? Let's go with 59. Grade F, you failed. Okay, and it says again, your exam score. Why does it say to enter it again? I'll go with 59 again. Okay, it says you failed. Alright, if I hit Control A, Control S, save the code. Copy the code, get sensei/ChatGPT here. Paste it, go with Shift Enter, and maybe just send it. Okay, listen to me, Vivek. You're almost there, but I can hear the whispers of imperfection. Look at your code. Else if exam score is greater than 80 and exam score is less than or equal to 89. Do you see it? What happens if the code is exactly 80 or exactly 70 or exactly 60? You left them hanging on the void. Oh, I see. Okay, how to fix it? Always include the lower bound with greater than or equal to. So if my exam score is greater than or equal to 90, more than or equal to 90, I print A. Else if my exam score is more than or equal to 80, else if my exam score is more than or equal to 70. Notice we don't need and exam score because the previous if/else/ already filtered the higher scores. Simple, clean, and unforgiving. Oh, I see. Okay, stream code. A master doesn't cheat logic, he bends it to his will. Okay, let me get that here. That actually does make sense. That actually did make a lot of sense. If my exam score is greater than or equal to 90, I could go with while my exam score is greater than or equal to 80. Okay, more than or equal to 80. And then I can go with if my exam score is greater than or equal to 70, greater than or equal to 60. Okay, this does make sense actually. What do you think is easier to learn, C/C+/C++ by knowing JavaScript, honestly, I've just learned Python before this, but I thought I got a pretty good idea on how the Python basics work, slash loops, loops, conditions, if slash else if, and like collections and all that. So I feel like C++ is honestly, it has the same context just with different syntaxes. So as long as you understand the basics, I feel like almost any programming language could be easy to learn as long as we understand the like the syntaxes. Okay, that's it. Let me send this. And guys, you guys can like fact check me because I don't have that much experience whatsoever in programming. That's just from my experience so far in like 124 days. I use Arch, by the way. Oh, that sounds pretty good. Okay, yes, that's how I drew warrior hand as logic. Every score is now covered. No student left hanging, and const passing is respected, clean, and precise. Professional. This is the kind of code that makes a sensei proud. Example runs. Okay, stream code. Guys, why is there so many quotes today? Discipline is doing what you hate to do, but doing it like you love it. Okay. Wait. Next step is loop plus vectors. We're going to combine while loops, for loops, and nested loops, a reference-based iteration, and vector functions, pushback, Okay, let me save. Ready, say. I think JavaScript is best. Honestly, I do want to eventually learn JavaScript as well. Maybe after my programming for 250 series. Okay, instructional challenge number 3, vector inventory. Create a program that creates a vector or creates a standard vector of string, okay, called inventory. Ask the user how many items they want to add. Use a for loop to let the user input that many items, names, and pushes them into the vector. After all items are added, print your inventory has X items, item 1, item 2. Use a reference-based for loop, okay, for auto item, okay, to append on to each item. Print the updated inventory using .add to access elements by index. Rules of Dojo. Use the push underscore back to add items. Use and in the reference-based loop when appending. Use at when printing the updated inventory. I might need some more practice with at. Stream quote, the strongest steel is forged in the hottest fire, and the strongest coders are forged in the hardest loops. Okay, I think I'm kind of enjoying the, the quotes. Okay, let's see. Let's go to the controller, delete everything. Instead of learning syntax, engineer, you should understand what code is trying to do. That way you can try implementing that. Okay, see, that way you can try implementing that logic in any language. Honestly, that's what I'm trying to do. That's why I like actually practice a lot of questions. That said, let me start off by including a pair of ankle braces, IO stream, and then let me also include vectors. So I'll go with include a pair of ankle braces, vector. Okay, perfect. Next up, let me go ahead and typecast my main function to be an integer. So I'll go with integer main, a pair of curly braces, maybe a bunch of spaces. Okay, so the first instruction says create a standard vector called inventory, which only consists of strings. So let's go with a standard console output, actually a standard vector, okay, with a pair of ankle braces that only consists of standard string, and it is going to be called inventory. There we go. I'll end that with a semicolon. Next up, ask the user how many items they want to add. What makes the prompt you enter in ChatGPT for that? What was the prompt you entered in ChatGPT for that? Prompt. Do you guys mean this? I just said ready, sensei. Okay, let's see. How much time you get to learn web full stacks? Honestly, I've never tried that. Okay, so let me go with a bunch of spaces, and then it says ask the user how many items they want to add. How do you install DaVinci Resolve on Arc? That question is for Mochi. Oh, I see. Okay, so I could go with an integer of count variable, which is going to be equal to, honestly, I'll set that equal to 0. And then let's go ahead and add a while loop. So I'll go with while, a pair of parentheses. Okay, so while my count variable is either greater than or greater than 0, I'll do something. I'll go with a pair of curly braces, and then ask the user how many items they want to add. Okay, so I could go with something like a standard console output with an insertion operator that says something like enter how many items you want to add. Okay, and I'll end that with a semicolon. Next up, let me go with a standard console input with an extraction operator. This is going to be my count variable. Okay. Next up, in my while loop, use a for loop to let the user input that many items, names, and push them into the vector. Use a for loop to let the user input. To let the user input that many item names and push them into a vector. Honestly, okay, we can use using namespace std to avoid std. Honestly, many people did say me to use like using namespace std. The reason I don't use it is because I want to avoid like name conflicts, because in bigger projects, if we don't use standard console output, it does cause like name conflicts. Okay, that said, let me go with a standard console output with an insertion operator that says enter a item. Okay, and then let me actually create a variable as well. So I could go with something like a standard string variable, okay, which is going to be called, let's say, item. Okay, and then let me go ahead and end this with a semicolon and then add another standard console. This time I'll go with a standard console input with an extraction operator. I want to extract my item variable. How doing, Redman? I appreciate you joining this stream. Okay, next up, use a for loop to let the user print that many items, and then push it inside of the vector. So once my user enters the item, I will be pushing it inside of my vector. So let me go with my inventories vector, dot the push underscore back function. So push underscore back function. I want to push back my item variable. I'll end up with a semicolon. After all items are added, print your inventory has X items, item 1, item 2. Okay, so this is where I use a for loop. Use a reference-based for loop. So for auto and item in inventory to append owns to each item. Okay. Okay, so let me go ahead and add a for loop, maybe outside my while loop. Okay, I will actually be subtracting my count by 1, so I'll go with count minus minus. Okay, count minus minus. There we go. Okay, and then outside my while loop, let me go with a for loop. So for a pair of parentheses, let's say for every standard string of item in my vector of inventory, I want to do something. I'll go with a pair of curly braces and then let me go ahead and add a standard console output with an insertion operator. I want to insert something like, let's go with my item variable with another insertion operator of a / new line, because this is what actually, since I said go with a new line and not like everything in the same line. Okay, next up, use a reference-based for loop to append owned to each item. Honestly, I can't see a use of reference-based for loop here. Okay, print the updated inventory using add to access elements by index. Okay, I need some more practice at add as well. That said, let me go ahead and return 0, ending with a semicolon. If I were to save the code and run the command, okay, it says how many items you want to add. I'll go with something like 3 items. Enter an item, I'll go with something like rope. Enter another item, I'll go with something like, I don't know, popcorn. And then water. Okay, rope, popcorn, water. Okay, let's go with a control C, copy that, get /chatgpt here. Okay, let me go ahead and paste this. Emplace underscore back is better and more effective than push underscore back method for vectors. Honestly, let me actually ask that. Okay, let's say I actually didn't see how we can use a reference-based for loop in this code. That said, I also forgot how to use the .add function. Okay, and also someone from my stream said me to use the emplace underscore back function instead of the push underscore back function. Okay, which is better? Guys, I have like so many typos. Okay, that's it. Listen to me, Vivek. I can feel your brain's tired, but you're on the edge of mastering vectors, reference-based for loops. Right now, you wrote, this makes a copy of each item. If you try to change item, it won't change the original vector. To modify the items, directly use a reference-based for loop for every standard string. Oh, I see. Okay, so this was the same bed. Like, go with my item and then add own. For example, rope, own, popcorn, own, water, own. Okay, the add tells C++, I want to work with the real thing, not a copy. Use .add index lets you safely access a vector element by index. It checks bounds and throws an error if the index is invalid. Example, for every integer of I which equals to 0, while my I is less than my inventory size, I'm gonna increment my I by 1. Okay, and then I go to standard console output inventory dot the add function I with another insertion operator of /n. Better than inventory at index of I if you want safety, especially in bigger programs. Push underscore back versus in place underscore back. Push underscore back item adds a copy of item to the vector, and place underscore back constructs the item in place directly inside the vector slightly faster and avoids unnecessary copying for complex objects like structs and classes. Oh, I see. Okay, for string, and place underscore back and push underscore back are almost the same in performance, but for teaching and clarity, push underscore back is fine, but using emplace underscore back is a little more professional. Okay, I guess we're using emplace underscore back from now. Okay, stream quote. A novice uses copy, a master uses reference. Guys, I don't know how is that a quote. Okay, Vivek, let's fix your code. Okay, honestly, I understood how to fix it. Okay, you can use reference-based loops here or iterators here too. Oh, I see. Okay, so the reason we needed a reference-based for loop, let me go with and there we go. Okay, so what Sensei/ChatGPT wanted me to do is not add a standard console output just here. Instead, I want to add my item. Okay, let me actually delete that. Okay, I'll go with my item plus equals to a string of owned. Okay, so this actually saves me the items that I have owned. Okay, I'll end that with a semicolon, and then let me go ahead. Okay, should I add this in a standard console output like item plus equals to owned? Is that what I had to do? I didn't. I haven't added a standard console output, so let me go with std console output with an insertion operator of item plus equals to owned. Can't I do this? Okay, in that case, let me go ahead and add a separate standard console output. So I'll go with standard console output with an insertion operator of my item with another insertion operator of a / new line. You can use for auto and inventory. Honestly, I've never worked with auto. Should I actually try that? I remember Sensei talking about that, but I've never tried that part. Okay, so you can use for every auto and item in inventory. Using add creates reference instead of making a copy in every iteration. Oh, I see. Okay, so for every standard string of item. Okay, so instead of standard string, I can go with auto. Honestly, I should ask what auto means. I've never used it before. Okay. Next up, what was the second thing that I had to fix? Print inventory.at instead of copying. Okay, so I could go with another for loop now. So let me go ahead and add for a pair of parentheses for every integer of I which equals to 0, while my I variable is less than my inventory's vector dot the size function. I want to do something. I'll increment my I by 1, and then let me add a pair of curly braces and go with a standard console output with an insertion operator. I want to insert my inventory dot the add function. Okay, this is going to be my I index. Okay, and then I end that with a semicolon. Outside my for loop, let me go ahead and let's say add a standard console output with an insertion operator of a standard end line. There we go. Okay, option replace push underscore back with emplace underscore back if you want to flex your skills. Okay, since emplace underscore back is recommended, I'll definitely just be using this. Okay, next up, let me hit Ctrl S to save the code and run the command. Guys, I feel the lag is getting back. Okay, let's see. While it loads, I think I should drink some water. Kind of thirsty. Why is it actually taking so long to load? Okay, there we go. How many items do you want to add? I want to go with 3 items. Okay, entry item. Let's see. I want to go with something like rope. Let's say kunai and a dagger. Okay, rope owned, kunai earned, dagger owned. Okay, rope owned, kunai owned, dagger owned. Okay, perfect. That said, when I go with my inventory, I do want to go with something like an empty space and maybe fix my typo here as well. Let's go with items. Let me go ahead and add rope, kunai, and dagger. There we go. This looks much better. Alright, perfect. Let's go to Control A, Control C, copy that, get some C slash ChatGPT here. There we go. Okay, let me go ahead and paste that and send it. Maybe like hydrate my lips as well. Okay, now we're talking, Vivek. Look at that code. You use emplace underscore back like a pro. The reference-based loop modifies the original vector perfectly. Dot add prints the element safely. This is vector mastery in action. Example run. How does Sensei know what I added? Okay, now mind. There's potion. I was like, what? Okay, perfectly clean and professional. The strongest coders don't just write code, they shape it like sculptures shape stones. I see. Okay, Vivek, next time we're going to combine vectors plus loops plus logical operators. You'll write a program that lets the user search for an item. Okay, in the inventory, use logical operators and loops to check if it exists. Print a message if the item is found or not. Are you ready? Let me say yes, Sensei, ready. Okay, let's see. Okay, that's the part I want to see. Instructional challenge number 4. Search the inventory. Write a program that has a standard vector, okay, which only consists of standard strings called inventory with at least 5 items per pre-filled. You choose them, okay, so 5 items pre-filled. Ask the user to enter the name of an item to search for, okay. Uses a for loop to check each item. Uses logical operators like equals to, the and logical operator, the or logical operator, etc. as needed to determine if the item matches. Okay, if the item is found, print item found in inventory. If the item is not found, print item not found. Rules: must use a vector, must use a loop to check items, no find shortcuts, must use logical operators. Another stream quote, guys: the difference between trying and winning is persistence, and you will not stop until it's done. Okay, let me get Sensei slash ChatGPT there. Okay, let's read the instructional form. Before that, let me go ahead and hit a controller, delete this whole thing. Alright, let me start off by including a pair of ankle braces, IO stream, and then let me go ahead and include vector as well because I am going to be working with containers. Okay, next up, let me typecast my main function to be an integer, so I'll go with integer main with a pair of curly braces, maybe a bunch of spaces. Okay, with that said, has a standard vector called inventory. So let me go ahead and add a standard vector which only consists of, we go with vector. There we go. Okay, so let me go with a standard vector with a pair of ankle braces that only consists of standard string. That said, this is going to be called inventory. Okay, other than that with a semicolon. Next up, ask the user to enter the name of each item to search. Okay, so I could go with something like a standard string variable called name. Okay. Alright, next up, let me go ahead and add a standard console output with an insertion operator that says something like enter a name, enter a item name that you want to search. Okay, enter item name that you want to search. I'll end that with a semicolon, and then let me go ahead and add a standard console input with an extraction operator. I want to extract my name variable. Okay, I'll end that with a semicolon. Next up, after I ask the user for name, use a for loop to check each item. So let me go ahead and use a for loop now to iterate over my vector. So I could go with something like for a pair of parentheses. Let's say for every standard string of item in my vector of inventory, I want to do something. Okay, I'll go with a pair of curly braces and then add a standard console output. So standard console output with an insertion operator. I want to insert something like, let's see. Okay, let's see. Okay, honestly, do I want to insert? I don't want to insert. I'll go with an if statement. Before that, I need to get separate indexes, so I might not go with for every standard string of item. Instead, let me go with for every integer of I, for every index of I, which is going to begin at 0, while my I is less than my inventory size. So my inventory is vector dot the size function. Okay, I'm going to be incrementing my I variable by 1 each time. Okay, and then inside my for loop, let's see. I got to ask, so use a for loop to check each item. So if my inventory dot the size, actually, if my inventory is vector, okay, dot at, this is going to be I, okay, if my inventory is index equals to my name, I'm going to do something. Okay, I think this is where I add an if statement, right? So let me copy that and go with if, a pair of parentheses. There we go. Okay, let me go with a pair of curly braces now. I'm only mentioning this because you told you wanted to code like a real project, but in real projects, if the data OS operating system, not primitive, we store their hash values or some unique encoders and hash them. Okay, that did make a lot of sense, but I honestly didn't understand any of that, guys. Or you can do binary search on the encoded list of integers. That actually sounds pretty fun. I want to actually learn binary on how to actually use binary codes. I might stream on that. Okay, I'm gonna go with a static console output. So I'll go with a static console output with an insertion operator. This is gonna be saying something like item found in inventory, exclamation, with another insertion operator of a / new line ending with a semicolon. That said, let me go ahead and add a else clause as well. So I'll go with else, a pair of curly braces. Let me go ahead and add a standard console output with an insertion operator that says item not found. Item not found. Okay, I'll go with another insertion operator of a / new line ending with a semicolon. Okay, must use a loop to check items not found shortcuts. No find shortcuts. Okay, I think this makes sense. After my for loop, let me go ahead and return 0. Okay, before I save the command, I need to save items inside of my inventory. So I could set this equal to, let's see, a pair of curly braces. Bro, have you tried LeetCode? Honestly, many people did say me to try LeetCode. That said, I didn't try it yet because I am saving LeetCode for like a separate streaming series where like I grind LeetCode on stream. I'm pretty excited for that. Okay, that said, let me add a few items. So I'll go with something like a rope, and then a knife, okay, and then maybe a kunai. Then let's see, I'll add like 2 more items. Let me go with something like water and popcorn. Okay, perfect. Alright, if I were to Control S to save the code, howdy monster, I appreciate you joining the stream. And guys, here comes the lag again. This is kind of annoying. Okay, if I were to run the code right now, let's see. Okay, I guess I drink some water while it's loading, guys. Guys, I dropped some water. I hope it didn't fall on my mic. Okay, it says enter item that you want to search. Let's say I want to search something like a rope. It says item found in inventory. On the other hand, it does say item not found as well. Probably because it iterates over every single item. Okay, that said, to avoid that, I could do something. Let's see. Let me go ahead and copy my if/else clause and get that outside my loop. Okay, so let me copy that part. Delete this. Okay, and outside my for loop, let me go ahead and create another variable. Guys, it's so hard to code with this lag. Okay, let me go with something like integer of index. Okay, let me go with index. There we go. Which is going to be equal to 0. Okay, and inside of my for loop, let me go ahead and set my index variable to be equal to, let's say, my inventory is vector. Okay, my inventory is vector at index, actually, inventory.the_add function at index of I. This is gonna be I. Guys, I'm probably at like 2 frames per second. I don't even know why. Okay, let's see. Index my inventory dot at a build system generator like CMake instead of VS Code runner extension. Honestly, I might try that. Huh, that actually sounds pretty good, but I didn't like understand much. Okay, my index variable equals to my inventory at index of I. My index is an integer. Why can't I use my inventory at index of I here? What if I remove my... Okay, then I can. Could I go with inventory at index of I? Huh. I want to... Okay, let's think. Why can't I set my index to be equal to my inventory? I am accessing every single index from my inventory. Okay, let me try that again. Index equals to inventory. Okay, why does this not work? Outside the for loop. Okay, instead, what if I went with at index of I? Index is int, but inventory has strings. Honestly, I'm not trying to access... Wait, is that actually the case? Because I thought that when I go with index, it gives me numbers instead of strings. Like, let me actually try that. Let's go with a standard string. Just a standard string. There we go. Okay, now it works. I thought, how is standard string set to 0 in that case? I thought when I go with indexes, it needs to be, whatchamacallit, integers. So if this was an integer of index, my I is at integer of index as well. So inventory at index of I should give me the index, which is going to be an integer, not a string. Okay, I'll see if this works actually. Okay, I think that's pretty much it. Let's go with the control S to save the code. And actually outside my for loop, let me go ahead and paste this. Then maybe go with a shift tab to de-indent. Okay, then maybe remove that. Alright, so let me change this to my index variable. Okay, index equals to name. If that's true, do this, else do that. Okay, now if I were to run the command, let's see. Okay, enter item that you want to search. I'll go with something like a rope. Terminate calls after throwing an instance for std logic error. What? Basic string construction from null is not valid. 0 is being treated as ASCII value, that's why it's a valid string. Oh, I see. Okay. Honestly, I still think it should like be an integer. Huh. Okay, let me go with the control C, copy that. It's say /ChatGPT here. Okay, let me go ahead and paste this, go with shift enter, let's say I feel like I messed up ... question mark. Okay, let's see. Oh yes, you messed up, but it's good. This is how we learn. Look at this part. For I which equals to 0, if while my I is less than my inventory size, I increment it by 1. What happens here? You override index on every iteration. By the time the loop finishes, index only holds the last item popcorn. That means you're only checking the last item instead of searching the whole inventory. How to fix? Inside the loop, check if the current item equals the name. Okay, if item found... Oh, I see. Okay, if item found, and maybe break the loop. Okay, if you finish the loop without finding it, print item not found. Oh, I could add a flag as well. Set a boolean found equals flag, loop through each item. If item equals to name, set found equals to 2 and break after the loop. Oh, that does make sense. Okay, a hunter doesn't blindly swing his sword. He tracks, he strikes, he wins. That's it. Let me get some say there. That's actually pretty genius. You can compare integer to string. You can compare characters to integer. Honestly, I feel like I don't want to compare. Like, I'm not going to be comparing. Let me just go with a bunch of control Z's. Actually, control shift C. There we go. I'll go with a bunch of control Z's here. Okay. Let me just zoom in a bit here. Okay, give me a sec, guys. I feel like I messed up since saying this tab. Okay, I think I'll figure that out later. Okay, let's go with a bunch of control Z's. I think I understand where I messed up. Okay, so I have an if statement here. if my inventory at index of I equals to name, instead of printing item found, I'll do something else. Let me go right here, and maybe create a boolean variable. So I'll go with boolean found, which equals to false currently because I have not found it. Okay. And then instead of typing this, I'll set my found variable to be equal to true. And then I break. Okay, perfect. I'll just remove the else clause from here. Alright, next up, outside my loop, let me add another if statement. So if a pair of parentheses, if my found variable is set to true, I'll do something. I'll go with a standard console output with an insertion operator that says that item. Okay, that item was found, exclamation, with another insertion operator of a / new line ending with a semicolon. That said, let me go ahead and add a else clause as well. So I'll go with else, a pair of curly braces. I'll go with a standard console output with an insertion operator that says this item or that item was not found, exclamation, with another insertion operator of a / new line ending with a semicolon. Excuse me, guys. Okay, if I hit Control S to save the code and run the command. Okay, let's see. When you're printing item you found, you can break the loop as the item is found, so no need to iterate for a loop anymore. Oh, I see. That actually makes so much sense. Okay, let's go with a rope. Okay, that item was found. What if I went with something like a torch? Let's see if a torch is found. Okay, that item was not found. Alright, perfect. Let me just change that to an exclamation. Okay, let me go with Control A, Control C. Guys, I feel like I messed something up with sensei/chat there. I don't see any kind of chats. Okay, let me refresh maybe. Oh, there we go. Okay, let me paste that and send it. Okay, that's it, Vivek. Now you're thinking like a true vector hunter. You loop properly, you checked each item individually, you used a boolean flag and print it to stop early and clean and effective. Example run. Perfect execution, guys. So many quotes. The strong don't wait for a chance, they create it. Vivek, next level, we're going to mix vectors plus loops plus logical operators plus nested loops. You'll make a mini inventory shop. The user can add multiple items, search items, check quantities, and maybe even remove items. This is where the dojo gets really intense. Are you ready? Let me say ready, sensei! Exclamation. Okay, let me drink some water, I guess. Okay, that said, that's the attitude, Vivek. Instructional challenge number 5, mini inventory shop. Write a program that uses 3 vectors. Okay, we're going with 3 vectors this time. The first is going to be for my items, which is only going to consist of strings, item names. The second vector is going to be called prices, which is only going to be consisting of doubles, print price of each item. The third vector is going to be called quantities, which only consists of integers called stock of each item. Okay, pre-fill the vectors with at least 3 items, their prices and quantities. Ask the user to buy an item by entering the name. If the item exists and quantity is greater than 0, decrease the quantity by 1, print you bought item, okay, total price XXX, okay. If the item exists but quantity is 0, print sorry, item is out of stock. Okay, if the item does not exist, print item not found. After purchase, print the items with the remaining quantity. Rules of Dojo: must use the vectors for all 3 properties, must use loops to search and check quantities, must use reference-based loop .at function where needed, must format the price with 2 decimals using IO_man_IP. Okay. Stream code, I guess another one, guys. In the dojo of code, you either kill bugs or get killed by them. Choose wisely. Okay, that said, let me get sensei/chat here. Okay, then scroll all the way up to the the instructional questions. Okay, let me start out by deleting everything and including a pair of let me include a pair of ankle braces, IO stream. Okay, so let me include IO stream. And then let me go ahead and include vectors as well, because I am going to be working with containers. So include a pair of ankle braces, vector. And then lastly, I'll go ahead and include a pair of ankle braces, This is gonna be, let's say, I forgot how we spell it, IO man IP. Is that how I pronounce it? IO man IP. Okay, that said, let me go ahead and typecast my main function to be an integer. So I'll go with integer main. Okay, a pair of curly braces, maybe a bunch of spaces. Okay, next up it says use 3 vectors. Standard vector which consists of strings, which consists of doubles, and which consists of integers. So let's go with a standard vector with a pair of ankle braces. Excuse me guys, that only consists of standard string. Excuse me again guys, this is going to be called item name. Okay, or I could just go with items honestly. Okay, item names. I'll end up with a semicolon, and then let me go ahead and add another standard vector with a pair of ankle braces. This is going to consist of double. It'll be better if you make different functions instead of using a single main function and its multiple input output manipulators, IOM and IP. Honestly, I didn't know that we could use multiple integer main functions. I might actually work on that as well. Okay, so this is going to be called prices, and then let me go ahead and add another standard vector with a pair of ankle braces that only consists of integers. This is going to be called quantities. There we go. I'll end that with a semicolon as well. Next up, pre-fill the vectors with at least 3 items, their prices and quantities. So I could pre-fill them. I'll set that equal to a pair of curly braces. Let's fill these. So I'd say what all we have on stock. We have like swords on stock, maybe some shields on stock, and starch. Okay, perfect. I ended that with a semicolon. Next up, let me add a pair of curly braces for my prices as well. My sword costs something like, I don't know, maybe... How much do usually swords cost? 109. Let's go with $199.99. Okay, next up, my shield should be more expensive. I'll go with $405 and actually $404.99. Okay, next up, let's see. How much does a torch cost? I think torch is pretty cheap, so let's go with something like, I don't know, $54.99. Alright, perfect. Next up, quantities. I'll set that equal to a pair of curly braces. Okay, so how many swords do we have on stock? We have 2 swords on stock, we have 1 shield on stock, and... we have like 8 torches on stock. Let's change this to be something like 6. Change that to like 4, maybe 12. Okay, that looks much better. Okay, next up, ask the user to buy an item by entering the name. Okay, so to do that, guys, did the stream lag again? Okay, I think we're good for now. Okay, so it says ask the user to buy an item by entering the name. So I could go ahead and create a variable, so a standard string variable, which is going to be called name, or I could go with something like item name, okay, which is not going to be equal to anything. That said, let me go ahead and add a standard console output with an insertion operator. I'm going to be adding a text that says enter a item that you want to buy. Okay, perfect. Okay, I'll end that with a semicolon. And then let me go ahead and add a standard console input with an extraction operator. I want to extract my item name variable. Okay, perfect. Next up, if the item exists and quantity is greater than 0, decrease the item quantity by 1. Okay, print you bought item. The total price is XXXXX. Okay, so let's add an if statement now. If a pair of parentheses, so if the item exists, so let me go with if my item is in my inventory. We don't have whatchamacallit. Okay, I'm pretty sure we don't have membership operators here. So should I go with like a for loop? Let me go with a for loop. I'll go with for a pair of parentheses, something like, let's say, spelling of that. Oh, my bad guys. I should fix my typos. My typos are honestly awful. Okay, so for every, let's see, for every standard string of item in my vector of items, I'm going to be adding a pair of curly braces and then checking something. If my item is in my inventory, if my item, okay, if a pair of parentheses, if my item name equals to my item. Okay, if my item name equals to my item, hi, housing substitious. How do you pronounce your name? Substitious? Is that how you pronounce the name, guys? I'm awful. I appreciate you joining the stream, guys. I should like work on my whatchamacallit spelling pronunciations, because I actually feel pretty bad when I pronounce you guys' names wrong. That said, if my item equals to my item, I'm gonna do something. Okay, let's see. Print you bought item total price. Okay. Okay, let me actually create a boolean variable. So I'll go with something like boolean found, which equals to false initially. Okay, if my item is inside of my vector, I'll set my found to be equal to true. Okay, now outside my for loop, let me go ahead and add an if statement. If a pair of parentheses, if found. Okay, so if the item exists, if it exists, my found will be true. And quantity is greater than 0. And quantity is greater than 0. Okay, for that I might add another if statement here. So let's go with something like boolean quantity more than 0. Let me go with quantity 0 plus. Does that make sense? Quantity. Okay, let's go with something like more than 0. I'll set that equal to false yet. I can't even pronounce my username, don't worry about it. Guys, I still want to learn more spellings. Okay, so I'll go with another if statement. So let's go with, honestly, instead of going with an if statement inside of this for loop, let me add another for loop. I'll go with for a pair of parentheses, this time for every, let's say, integer of quantity. For every integer quantity in my vector of quantities, I'm going to be adding a pair of curly braces, and then I'll add an if statement. If a pair of parentheses, let's say something like if my quantity, okay, if my quantity is greater than 0, I'll do something. Okay, if my quantity variable, okay, if that is greater than 0, I'll do something. Let's see, I'll go with a pair of curly braces and set my more than 0 variable to be equal to true. Okay, let's see, should this be integer? I could change that to integer, honestly. Okay, let me just zoom in though. Okay, so if my item is found and my quantity is greater than 0, I'll go with something like quantity. Okay, actually I'll go with more than 0 variable. Okay, my quantity is greater than 0, I want to do something. Decrease the quantity by 1. Could I go with a for loop here? Instead of using another for loop, you can use the index at which you found the item to get other information from other vectors. The indexes will be same. Oh, that actually makes so much sense. I actually might do that. Okay, so instead of writing this here, let me actually add another for loop and then I'll delete these two. Okay, so I'll go with for a pair of parentheses. Okay, let's say for every integer of I which equals to 0, let's go with while my I is less than, let's say my items dot the size function, I'm going to increment my I by 1. So I'll go with I plus plus. I'll go with a pair of curly braces and then let me go ahead and do something. Let's see. Firstly, I'll check about my quantity. Okay, so I'll go with a if statement. Let's say if a pair of parentheses, if my items is vector at index of I, okay, my items is vector at index of I. Can't I access my items is vector here? I'm pretty sure I should be able to access my items as vector. Did I spell it correct? Is it called items? Okay, although this is integer, it says integer. I mean, that is integer. Okay, if my items is vector at index of I is, let's say, equal to my item name, then I'm going to do something. I'll go with a pair of curly braces and then let me go ahead and set my found variable. So I'll copy my found. Let me go ahead and add my found variable. here, found equals to true. Okay, I'll end that with a semicolon. Next up, we add another if statement. If a pair of parentheses, if my quantity at index of I is less than, let's see, is less than okay, is less than 0. Actually, is greater than 0. It's greater than 0. I'll go with a pair of curly braces and then set my more than 0 to be equal to true. Okay, perfect. Let me go ahead and delete these two for loops. Okay, this honestly saves so much space. That's actually pretty good. Okay, let's see. If found is set to true and more than 0 is set to true, I want to do something. Okay, quantity of that item. Okay, I'll go with a pair of curly braces. You want to check quantities only when the item is found, so nested inside the if condition. Oh, actually that does make sense. Wait, hold up. I want to get this items as quantity. So if so nested inside the if condition. If my item is found and more than quantity. Okay, so how could I get the index of my item and my quantities at the same time? I actually know what to do here. I should probably get this if statement later. Before this, I should most likely go with a for loop. For the outer loop is going to be for my items, and the inner loop is going to be for... Okay, let me actually try that. So I'll go with for a pair of parentheses. Let's say for every integer of I, but I did add that here. Could I use this for loop itself? Honestly, I think I could use this for loop. Let me remove this for loop from here. And inside this for loop, let's go with a nested for loop. For a pair of parentheses, let's say... Okay, so this is to get the index of my items. Do I want to get the index of my quantity as well? I forgot how to get the vector for both. Okay, I have access to the index. I want to subtract that index by 1. Oh wait, I think I know. If items at index of I equals to item name and quantities at index of I is greater than 0. I thought so also. Huh. Okay, honestly, if items at index of I equals to items' name and quantity at index of I. If items at index... Oh, okay, I see. Alright, so let's go with the if statement. If a pair of parentheses, if my items at index of I is equal to my item name, okay, and my, let's say, quantities is vector at index of I is greater than 0, okay, since I wrote that, I wouldn't have to set these variables specifically to be true, so I could delete these found variables. Because I'll be adding everything inside of my for loop, right? Honestly, I think I might need those. Okay, outside the loop, items at index of I, and that, I'll go with a pair of curly braces. If this does happen, I want to do something. Firstly, let's see. If the item exists and quantity is greater than 0, decrease the quantity by 1. Okay, so I could go with something like my quantities at index of I. Okay, I'll go with -1. Or let's go with something like minus. Okay, I decrease that by 1. You indexed 1, not I for items. Oh, I indexed 1. Guys, I should pay more attention. My attention span is like awful. Okay, then let me go ahead and add a standard console output with an insertion operator that says something like, should I add this outside? I think I should add this outside my for loop. Hey, how are you doing, Sup Radam? Is that how you pronounce the name? I appreciate you joining this stream. Okay, so now that I decrease this by 1, I could actually go with if my found is set to true and that is set to true. Quantity is minus. Okay, honestly, instead of writing this, I could go with something like if found and more than 0 and more than 0. Okay, if both of them are true, I do this. Then outside my for loop, I'm going to do something. Let me go ahead and add a standard console output with an insertion operator that says something. Should I go with an if statement here? Okay, let's go with an... Should I? I honestly, I think I could print it in here. Okay, let me actually print it inside my for loop. Okay, I'll do that, and then I'll go with a standard console output with an insertion operator that says something like you bought the item name. So let me say you bought, okay, with another insertion operator of my item name. So I could go with a space here. This is going to be my item name variable with another insertion operator. Total price is XXX. So I could go with something like total price is... okay, my total price is another insertion operator. This is going to be, let's see. Okay, this is going to be my prices vector. Okay, so I'll go with price at index of I. So I'll go with prices at index of I. Okay, I'll go with another insertion operator of a / new line ending with a semicolon. What happens if I like add this in a new line? That could help like with some spacings. Okay. Okay, I think this makes a lot of sense. Okay, let's go with a $sign. Alright, next up. If the item exists but quantity is equal to 0, print sorry, item is out of stock. Okay, so let me go ahead and create another boolean variable. I could go with something like out of stock. So I can go out of stock. Okay, I'll set that equal to false as well by default. Okay, next up. Is this going to be an else? No, it is another if statement. So I'll go with something like else if, a pair of parentheses, if my item is found and let's say and out of stock. Okay, how am I going to know if an item is out of stock? I gotta add another if statement to figure that out. So I could add that here. Let's go with, excuse me guys, if a pair of parentheses, if my quantities is vector at index of I is equal to 0, I'll go with a pair of curly braces and go with item out of stock. You have multiple logic errors in this code. As the loop goes on, the flags will be true once set to true for every element coming next. So it will decrease every item frost match. Oh, I see. Wait, in that case, should I like remove my flags because everything is inside of my for loop? So I honestly might not need my flags actually. Instead, I could just go with this. Let me go ahead and copy that, paste that here, and then go ahead and copy this. Okay, and paste it here. Okay, and then let me go ahead and delete these. Okay, so with this first match, oh, should I set them to... okay, I should reset them maybe. I think once my program closes, once I like close my program, it does refresh everything, right? Okay, so if my quantities equals to my item name and quantities at index of I is greater than 0, quantities at index of I okay, decreases by 1, then I go with the standard console output. Okay, else if, let me go ahead and remove this. Else if my items at index of I, okay, equals to item name, that means if my item is found and let's go with and my quantities at index of I, okay, is equal to 0, my item is off stock, I'll go with a pair of curly braces and then add a standard console output with an insertion operator. This is going to say something like sorry, item is out of stock. So let's go with something like sorry. Okay, with another insertion operator. Okay, let's go with my item name variable. So I'll go with sorry, item name with another insertion operator is out of stock. So I'll go with something like is out of stock. Full stop. Okay, and then I'll go in a new line, add another insertion operator of a / new line ending with a semicolon. Okay, next up, if the item does not exist, print item not found. Okay, let's go with something like another else if. Should I go with else if? Honestly, I think an else clause would do the same thing, but just for more clarity, I'll go with else if a pair of parentheses. I'll type something like if item at index of I. Honestly, I'll go with an else clause. Let's go with an else clause, a pair of curly braces. I'll go with an if statement. If a pair of parentheses, if my items at index of I is not equal to, let's say, my item name variable, I'll do something. I'll go with a pair of curly braces and add a standard console output with an insertion operator that is going to be saying something like this item K does not exist. Okay, with another insertion operator of a / new line ending with a semicolon. That said, let's go with an else clause. I'm going to be printing something like standard console output with an insertion operator. I'll say something like something went wrong. Exclamation with another insertion operator of a / new line. Okay, that said, after purchase attempt, print all items with remaining quantities. You need to break once item is found and also maintain a flag after the loop. Just check if flag is false, which means no item was found. I see. Okay. Flag is false if no item was found. I could create a variable for that. I feel like I'm kind of lazy to create that actually. Okay, honestly, I might try that like for the next question. Okay, let me zoom up a little. Okay, I did add the logics for like if my item is found. I could like flags are honestly better. Okay, so after purchase, should I use a reference-based for loop? And guys, here comes the lag again. YouTube is not receiving enough video to maintain smooth streaming. Okay, that said, what did I want to do? Should I go with a reference-based for loop? I think I should go with a reference-based for loop to like, whatchamacallit? To print my whole vector. Or like I want to mess with my actual vector. Bro, I have a startup want to join looking for a technical co-founder. Honestly, I'm just trying to master the basics of C++. That said, if I ever need help, I'll definitely ask you guys. Although, let's see. Okay, so in my for loop, I'll go with for the integer of I. How do we even use a reference-based for loop in like this kind of, whatchamacallit? Okay, let's go with and I. There we go. Does that make sense? Guys, this is lagging so bad right now. And doesn't make sense here. Okay, I hope my OBS didn't crash. Okay, I think this should work for now. Okay, so outside my for loop, let me add another for loop. So it says after purchase, print all items with remaining quantities. So I could actually use this for loop because I do have indexes here. Okay, outside my if statement, let me go ahead and add a standard console output with an insertion operator. This is going to be my items at an index of I. These are how many items are remaining. Okay, I'll go with another insertion operator. Okay, this is going to say something like remaining items. Let's go with a pair of double quotes. This says remaining items. Okay, these are going to be the remaining items. And then I'll go in a new line. Add an insertion operator. This is going to be saying something like quantity. So I'll go with quantity. Okay, honestly, before I go to a new line, let me go with another insertion operator of a / new line. Okay, and then add another insertion operator of my quantities as vector at index of I with another insertion operator of a / new line ending with a semicolon. Okay, and then lastly, let me go ahead and return 0. I do want to ask that flag question though. Okay, let me go ahead and remove these extra spaces. If I were to hit Ctrl S to save the code and run the command, guys, this lag is actually pretty insane. I can't see a thing. Okay, I think this is just a way for like C++ or like VS Code to save me to drink some water. I honestly miss drinking coffee. Okay, how many items do you want to buy, or enter an item that you want to buy? I want to buy a sword. Oh my gosh. Okay, you bought sword, total price about 200 bucks. Remaining items, sword, quantity, da da da. This item does not exist. Remaining item, shield, quantity. This item does not exist. Remaining item, torch, quantity. Okay, this is why. Okay, actually, I should add flags for this because this is what I was kind of worried about. Okay, so outside my for loop, let me go ahead and add a few flags. For example, I could add a boolean flag for like found. I'll set that equal to false initially, and then I'll go with another boolean flag for. Okay, I want one for found. Do I want one for index? I could go with something like index, which equals to 0, and this is not going to be a boolean. That's going to be an integer. Okay. Alright, let's see. Next up. What else I need for? I need found. I need quantity greater than 0. So I'll go with another boolean for quantity more than 0, which is going to be equal to false as well. Okay, there we go. I'll end that with a semicolon as well. And then I might need one for, let's see, not present. So I could go with something like boolean not found. Actually, I don't need to, excuse me guys, I don't need to specifically go for a not found. Okay, let's see. So boolean quantity, if my items, okay, if that is set to true, I decrease my quantity by 1, and then instead of printing this here, let me go ahead and do something. So I'll go with my found variable. I'll set that equal to true. Okay, else if my items equals to item name, item is found but my quantity is not there, I'm gonna go down here and do something. Okay, let's see. I'll go with quantity more than 0, less than 0. Quantity less than 0, or quantity 0. Okay, that is set to false currently. I'll set that to true. So I'll go with quantity less than 0, or quantity 0, to be equal to true. There we go. And then I print that stuff. I'll actually print those outside my loop. Okay, if items is not in item name, I'm going to do something. Let me go with my found variable. I'll set that equal to false. Okay, else something went wrong. Okay, and then these are my stuff here. Maybe outside my loop, I want to set my index to be I. Okay, so I'll go with my index variable. I'll set that equal to I. Okay, this should work. Alright, perfect. Outside my for loop. Now, I'll add an if statement. So I'll go with if, a pair of parentheses, if my items, okay, so if I found my item and my quantity is greater than 0, okay, there are going to be two variables that I need here. Okay, let's go with another boolean. So I'll go with a boolean of something like quantity. There we go, quantity more than 0. I'll set that equal to false as well. Okay, and then false. Okay, so if my quantity is more than 0, I'm going to set that variable equal to true. I feel this is a huge name for a variable, guys. Okay, so if my item is found and let's go with and my quantity is greater than 0, quantity more than 0, I'm going to do something. I'll go with a pair of curly braces, and then I want to print something. I want to print this. Let me go ahead and copy that, delete it from here, paste it right here. Okay, perfect. Let me go ahead and de-indent these things. There we go. Okay, and instead of going with prices at index of I, I'll go with prices at index of my index variable, which is set to my I. That said, next up, let me go with the else if my item is found and my quantity is equal to 0. Okay, let's go with an else if now. So I'll go with an else if, a pair of parentheses, else if my item is found and quantity is 0. Okay, I'm going to do something. I'll go with a pair of curly braces. And then let me go ahead and print this right here. So I'll copy that, delete it from here, go all the way here and paste it. Okay, perfect. Maybe let me just de-indent that. Alright, and then next up, let's go with an else clause. Else, if my item is not found, I'm going to print this. So I'll go with an else clause here. So let's go with else, a pair of curly braces. I'll go with the if statement. If, a pair of parentheses, if my item, okay, so if not found, so exclamation found, if my item is not found, I'll go with a pair of curly braces and I want to print this. So let me go ahead and copy that, delete it from here. I want to paste that right here. Okay, I do that if my item is not found. Else, if my item is found, I'll do something else. So let's go with an else clause here, else a pair of curly braces. I'm going to print something went wrong. Let me copy that, delete that from there. Paste it right here. Okay. Alright, so I think I don't need an else clause here. There we go. Okay, now it looks pretty much clean. And then let me go ahead and copy these two console outputs as well. And paste them right under my else clause right here. Okay, and let me just de-indent this. This is going to be std, standard. Okay, perfect. This actually, now this looks pretty good. So the for loop does all my, setting my flags, and once my flags are set, I add the if conditions. If I hit Ctrl S to save the code and run the command. Okay, I got an error at line 62. Did I mess something up? Oh, okay, I think I need another this thing. There we go. Okay, now if I hit Ctrl S to save the code and run the command. Okay, what item do you want to buy? I want to buy a sword. Okay, you bought a sword. Total price is $199.99. That's 200 bucks. Remaining items, sword quantity 3. Okay, initially was my sword 4. Okay, there we go. Perfect, 4. Alright, so let me go with the Control C, copy that, get Sensei/ChatGPT here, guys. That was a lot. That was a lot. Okay, let me paste it. Okay, let's read. Vivek, I can feel the chaos in this code. You're overcomplicating things and it's causing logic nightmares. Let's break it down. Problems I see: found keeps getting overridden inside the loop. If item isn't the last one, it can flip found to false. Even after a match. Index is always set to I, which is wrong. You want the index of the found item only. Oh, I see. Using 3 boolean flags, found, quantity 0, quantity more than 0 is unnecessary. 1 found plus a quantity check is enough. At the end, standard console output with an insertion operator, remaining items, Okay, I is out of scope here. That will not compile. Did I change that to index? You need a loop to print all items and their quantities. Correct logic in words. Ask the user for name. Loop through items with index I. If item at index of I is equal to item name. If quantities at index of I is greater than 0. Decrease quantity, print both message and price. Okay, so this if statement is indented inside of that statement. Found is set to true, then break. Okay, I see. Excuse me, guys. Else print out of stock message found equals true, then break. Else print out of stock message found equals true, break. Okay. After the loop, if found equals to false, print item not found. Finally, loop through all items and print name plus remaining quantity. Another stream code. Simplicity is the highest form of coding mastery. Chaos is for amateurs. Okay, I think I understand. Okay, let me get Sensei/ChatGPT there. Okay, that said, where did I mess up? Okay, I do understand what Sensei/ChatGPT meant by saying this code isn't simple. What you think about hackathon? How to win the hackathon? Honestly, I've never heard of that. What's it about? Okay, let's see, guys. I think I need some water to process what's going on. And guys, here comes the error again. YouTube is not receiving enough video to maintain smooth streaming. Okay, so it says about simplicity. Outside somewhere. Okay, instead of items at index of I, I'll go with index variable. Da-da-da. There we go. Let me go ahead and write index here as well. Alright, I just want to save this and check what happens real quick. Okay, items at index of index. I want to go with shields. Okay, there we go. Let's see. That item does not exist. Quantity items. Oh, isn't there shield inside of my item? Okay, it is there. Okay, I think I see. Let me go ahead and delete all this here. Okay, I just need a found variable. Okay, so I create a boolean found variable in the zoom in. So it says loop through items with index 1 if items at index of I equals to item name, I do something. Okay, so I got a loop through first. So let's go with for a pair of parentheses for every integer of I which equals to 0 while my I is less than, let's say, my items dot size, my items is vectors dot the size function. I'm going to increment my I by 1. So I'll go with I plus plus. And then let's go with a pair of curly braces and then add a if statement. Okay, let's see. I'll go with if a pair of parentheses if my items equals to my item name. So if my items is vector at index of I equals to my item name, my item name variable, I'm going to do something. I'll go with a pair of curly braces. Apparently, I need a nested if statement. If quantities is greater than 0, I decrease my quantity, print both message with price, found equals true, then break. Okay, so I go with if a pair of parentheses if my quantities, excuse me guys, at index of I is let's say greater than 0, it's more than 0, the item is available on stock and there's enough items. Okay, I'm going to do something. So firstly I'll go with quantities at index of I. Let's say I'm going to decrease that by 1. Okay, and then let me go ahead and add a standard console output with an insertion operator that says you bought with another insertion operator. I could add that in like a new line. Okay, with another insertion operator. Okay, you bought items at index of I. Okay, with another insertion operator. Let's go with something like maybe a poll line. Price. Okay, I'll go with another insertion operator. My price is gonna be, let's go with my prices as vector at index of I with another insertion operator of a / new line ending with a semicolon. There we go. Okay, that should honestly make sense. Okay, and then I set my found variable to be equal to true, then break the entire loop. I don't want to start searching anymore. Okay, next up, I'm going to set my found variable to be equal to true. Actually, I want to set my found variable to be equal to true right somewhere here. So let's go with, actually, before I subtract my quantity, I'll go with found. I'll set that equal to true. Okay. If my found variable is true. Okay. Next up, let me go ahead and add a break. So I'll go with break. Okay, so it stops iterating anymore. Okay, that said, else print out of stock message found equals to true, then break. Okay, so I'll go with an else clause. So let's go with else, a pair of curly braces. Else print out of stock message. So I could go with something like a standard console output with an insertion operator. I want to print the out of stock message. So I'll go with something like this item, that item is out of stock, exclamation with another insertion operator of a / new line ending with a semicolon. Okay, finally loop through all items and print remaining name and quantity. Loop through all items. Okay, I could loop through all items as well. This doesn't feel that much though. Did I cover every single thing here? That item doesn't exist. Don't use a break in a for loop, just use a while loop instead. Honestly, I was actually planning to use a while loop as well, but I did want to like figure out how stuff works in a for loop too, because I want to like know how to use both a for loop and a while loop. Does that make any sense? Okay, let's see. Next up, outside my for loop, let me go ahead and add another for loop. So I'll go with for a pair of parentheses. Let's say for every standard string of let's go with item. For every standard string of and item, I'll go with a reference-based for loop. In my vector of items, I'll go with a pair of curly braces and then add a standard console output with an insertion operator. I want to insert something like I want to go with my item plus okay, remaining. There we go. With another insertion operator of a / new line ending with a semicolon. Okay, so that item is remaining. I want to add a quantity as well, so I might not add a new line just yet. Okay, there we go. So let me go ahead and add another for loop. Could I honestly... Okay, so let me go with another for loop. So I'll go with for a pair of parentheses for every double of... Actually, for every integer. For every integer of and price, for every integer of and price, in my vector of prices, I want to do something. I'll go with a pair of curly braces and then add a standard console output with an insertion operator. This is going to be my item. Actually, my price. Guys, the lag is back. Price. Okay. Okay, I gotta go with quantities, not prices, right? So let me go ahead and remove my this thing and just go with a double of quantity. Okay, for every quantity in my quantities is vector. There we go. This is gonna be quantity. There we go. With another insertion operator of a / new line ending with a semicolon. That said, let me go ahead and add something else as well. I could go with something like, I don't know, maybe I'll go with quantity. So I'll go with a pole or like a pipeline. Quantity. Okay, with another insertion operator of my quantity. There we go. Okay, maybe I zoom out a bit. Okay, so remaining item plus quantity. That's my items. This is going to be all my items, all my quantities. And then let me go with a standard console output with an insertion operator of a standard end line ending with a semicolon. That said, let me go ahead and return 0 and that with a semicolon. Hey, hiding substatistics. Is that how you pronounce the name, guys? I should learn my pronunciations. Okay, if I hit Control S to save the code and run the command, all loops boil down to the same thing, but it's about indent. While some conditions isn't meant to do X for each loop, say explicit that you want to loop every item. For loop states your bounds. Oh, I see. How to download GTA V in laptop. Honestly, I've never tried GTA. Okay, let me go with... If I were to run the command, let's see. What's up? Hiding substatistics. Hey guys, I do honestly want to try GTA eventually, but I feel I don't have enough time to play anything. Guys, I honestly might even end this stream after this question because I do got an exam coming and like I gotta study for that. That series in these like 3 hours. 3 hours is actually on a good day if I don't have anything to do. That said, after my college is over, I might stream for longer, like 6 hours like how I used to stream before. And guys, it's taking so long for me. Okay, the entry item that you want to buy. I want to buy a shield. It's a shield. It's for $404.99. Sword remaining quantity 4. Okay, let's see. Sword remaining, shield remaining. What happens if I go with an insertion operator? It says quantity 5 and okay, entry item that you want to buy. I want to buy a shield. Okay, you bought a shield. Price is $4.99. Sword remaining, shield remaining, torch remaining. Okay, honestly, I want to go with like, could I go with like a nested for loop here? Because I want to add like sort remaining and like quantity 4. Okay, I might actually try that. Okay, so under my for loop, let me go ahead and add another for loop. So let me go with nested for loop. So with for a pair of parentheses, let's go with for every double of quantity THCY in my vector of quantities, I'm going to do something. I'll go with a pair of curly braces and then copy this part. Let me copy that and paste it here. Maybe de-indent it and then delete my this for loop. Okay, so instead of going with a new line, I'll remove that part. There, this should honestly work. Static console output. Okay, now let me go ahead and hit Ctrl S to save the code. If I run the command, this should work perfectly, I think. Enter an item that you want to buy. I want to buy a shield. Oh my gosh. Wait, hold up. Okay, you bought a shield. That's the price. Remaining, sort remaining quantity 4, quantity 5, quantity 12. I just want one quantity. So could I go with like an index of I? What you coding? Honestly, I'm just learning the basics of C++. That said, I am coding like an inventory shop or like actually a shop system where like there are fixed items. You could buy an item. If that item exists, it says that item exists. It subtracts that from your actual, whatchamacallit, items as quantity. If that doesn't exist, it says that that item does not exist. Okay, so let's see. For every double of quantity in my vector of quantities. Okay, this prints every single quantity. I want to break after 1. How do I do that? Although, if I did break after 1, what if I go with quantities like at index of I? Should I create an index here? Is that gonna be smart, guys? I could create an integer of index. Let's try that. I'll go with integer of index, which equals to 0. So it starts at index 0. After all this, before I break, should I go before I break? Okay, I'll go with index variable that equals to I. I honestly don't know if this part is going to like work. So, okay, so item at index of my index variable and then quantity at index of my index variable. There we go. If I were to hit Control S to save the code, okay, it's not saving the, okay, I can't save the code here, honestly. Standard console output, quantity at index of index. The reason my index works here is because it is a string. I want a general index. I just want the number to change. So why can't it work here for doubles? That's double quantity. Okay, let me go ahead and remove this real quick. I want to test what happens if I hit Control S and save the code and run the command. Okay, let's see. Guys, this lag is actually pretty insane. Okay, I guess I wait for the lag. Let me just hydrate my lips real quick. It literally says excellent connection in my streaming platform. Okay, why does it load? My OBS didn't crash, did it? Pretty sure it didn't crash. Okay, enter item that you want to buy. I want to buy a shield. Okay, you bought a shield. Axe size larger than max. Okay, actually I might also part to /ChatGPT. Let me go ahead and delete this part. And then remove my index from here as well. Let's remove that. Let me delete my index variable. Okay, there we go. Okay, let me go with the Control C, copy that, get some /ChatGPT here. There we go. Okay, if I were to go ahead and paste this code and then go with Shift Enter. Okay, let me say, let's say I feel like I did it almost, just didn't know how to work with the index because when I show the remaining items, it shows the quantity of all items instead of that exact item. Okay, dot dot dot. Let's see. Okay, exactly, Vivek. You're right on the edge of perfection. You're printing all quantities for each item. That's why it looks messy. Look at this part. Ta-ta-ta. You're nesting a loop over quantities inside a loop over items. For every item, print all quantities. Fake strategy. Ta-ta-ta. For integer of 0 items. Okay, at index of I, quantity. Ta-ta-ta. This matches each item with quantity. Okay. Stream quotes, the difference between good coders and great coders is attention to little things. Okay guys, honestly that's probably something that I'm bad at. I should like pay more attention. Okay, let me get Sensei there. And then scroll all the way down. Okay, honestly, size function, I want to do something. Okay, I want to increment my I by 1, increase it by 1. And I'll go with a pair of curly braces. And then let me go ahead and do something. Output with an insertion operator. I want to insert something, so I'll go with something like remaining item. So remaining item, there we go. Remaining items exclamation. Maybe I'll go with like a hyphen. Okay, and then 3 more hyphens here. Okay, then I'll go with another insertion operator of a / new line ending with a semicolon. And now let me add a standard console output with an insertion operator. This is going to be my items, so I'll go with my items as vector at index of I with another insertion operator. Don't take that much stress, just break it down into smaller code blocks and think like that. Honestly, that does make sense. I should actually try that. Okay, I'll go with another insertion operator. This is going to be my quantities, so I could go with another insertion operator. Okay, let's go with something like okay. This is going to be my item. Okay, so that's my item, and then I'll go with quantities. So could go with like a pipeline or like a pole. This is going to be quantity. There we go. Okay, maybe I add this to be let's say lowercase or capitalized. Okay, my quantity, I'll go with another insertion operator. This is going to be my quantities as vector at index of I with another insertion operator. Okay, should I go with a / new line? I think I should go with a / new line. There we go. So that prints all my items in the correct order. Okay, that's pretty much it. Let me go ahead and Control S to save the code. If I were to run the command, let's see. Okay, it says enter item that you want to buy. I want to buy a shield. Okay, you bought a shield, price $404.99. Remaining items: item sword quantity 4, item shield quantity 5, item torch quantity 12. That said, let me go ahead and get this standard console output of remaining items outside my for loop. Okay, so it doesn't print after every this thing. Okay, let me save the code again. Guys, I'm waiting for the stream lag to go before I end the stream. Okay, enter an item that you want to buy. I want to buy a sword this time. Okay, it says you bought a sword, price $99.99. Item sword, remaining items. Okay, perfect. If I were to hit Control A, Control C, copy this code, get Sensei / ChatGPT here. There we go, guys. The stream lag is gone. Let me paste this. Maybe shrink ChatGPT. Get it right there. Okay, and send it. Okay, now we're talking. Look at that beauty. You search for item properly, you check quantity and decrease if item available, print the inventory correctly with each item matched to its quantity. Output is clean and professional. Example run. Perfect execution. Stream quote: the coder who masters the basics can conquer any programming battle, guys. 100% agree with that. Okay, that said, let me say, Sensei, I'm actually planning to end the stream right now. Is there anything that you want to say to the viewers? Question mark. Okay, let's see. Listen up, warriors. Today you saw Vivek transform into a vector hunter. He battled Const, tamed if/else, mastered loops, and even ran a mini shop like a true coding samurai. Remember, the difference between a master and a novice is that a master has failed more times than a novice has ever tried. That said, keep pushing, keep breaking things, and never settle for almost right. Vivek will be back soon to crush more challenges. Stay hungry, stay relentless, and keep your swords of logic sharp. End the stream like a champ. Vivek, go rest. We'll continue the dojo session next stream. Guys, I won't be resting. I'll be like working on more. Let me just go to my main camera. Alrighty guys, so that's basically it for the stream. The reason I just stream like for 2 to 3 hours these days is because I do have college. Like I'm going to be working on my college stuff now. That said, if you guys enjoyed the stream, don't forget to like, share, subscribe, like the episode, my algorithm, sharing makes you smile, and subscribing is like a cherry on top. And guys, once I get my actual PC and all this lag issues settled, I am going to be multi-streaming. I'm going to be starting to multi-stream again on Twitch, Kick, and YouTube at the same time. That said, I will be streaming on Insta and TikTok as well. So if you guys do enjoy my content and haven't followed me there, make sure to follow me there and also join the Discord server. Link is in the description and not in the pinned comments. You guys could like type hashtag Discord to get the Discord server. That said, I'll catch you guys in the next live stream or video. Peace!